Nature often has a role in many myths. Write an essay, what to do, analyzing the role of nature in both the passage and the poem. Use evidence from both the passage and the poem to support your response. Okay, so it's reminding us that nature has a role in many myths, and we're going to write an essay, which you know means that's what you're going to do, and we're going to analyze, that's the thinking part. We're going to figure out how the role of nature works in both the passage and the poem. So the first thing that, as I'm thinking I got to do, is I've got to take the word nature, write it out. It's kind of big, isn't it? I always like to do little boxes. Fix that in for you. And I'm going to list out, as I'm reading the passage, what some of the forms of nature are. And I'm just going to share with you what some of these are, just so it makes sense when I explain this to you. In the passage, you're going to find a bird. In the passage, you're going to find sun. In the passage, you're going to find water. In the passage, you're going to find wind. Now, you might not list all of those, but I think those are some of the ones you would find in the passage. And then, because you have to use both the passage and the poem, you would want to make a column that has passage, and a column that has the poem. And as you're reading, you want to put the role of the bird here, statements and statements. And to make it really clear, let's see, the statement, and then let's also put one here that has the role. So the role of the bird was to supply feathers. And then you'll write the statement that refers to that. You'll write the statement that refers to that. There might be other statements, so you would write more than one if there are, okay? And I'd probably leave a couple statements or a couple of spaces for each one. So I think what I would do is put bird, and then leave a couple spaces, and then put sun, leave a couple of spaces, and then put water, leave a couple spaces, and then put wind. And that way I can put more than one example here. Because you might have a role and have a couple of statements for it, or you might have a couple of roles. So you want to have a little space so you can fill in. So once you get your chart filled in, you then have something you can write to, with all your examples organized in a way that you can write to it. And that's how I would organize it. As you know, if you have another way that you can do it, that would be just fine, as long as it works for you. This is how I would do it that would work for me. See you on the next one.